Thank you. Good afternoon, Design Outlook. Thank you for digesting with me over this playful panel. My name's Trudi, and as I say, I have three amazing guests joining us in just a moment. Before I do, I would like to pay my respects to elders past, present and emerging on the beautiful land that we are on of the Wurundjeri people. I think there's something really beautiful about the thought that we are gathering as a community to explore something creatively and playfully on these lands where that has been happening for thousands of years. There's a really rich wisdom that comes with that. The other thing, I think it's beautiful that we're doing this by the gorgeous Yarra, because they do say that being by water improves creativity. Just ask Chi. So we are here this afternoon to discuss playfulness. Now, I really want to unpack this. We are talking about the difference is. We are talking about playful, not playing. So playing is something that children do. It is childish. Nothing wrong with that. But today we are talking about playful, which is childlike. And that is a mindset. There's a difference. Let's demystify a little bit of it before we get our incredible panel up here. I want to tell you a really few cool things about play. We are actually born with it. It's one of our 7 primal responses. We don't have to learn how to play. We are hardwired. In fact, all mammals play. The bigger the brain, the more you play. But here's the cool thing about we humans. We are the only known species to have an imagination. Therefore, we are the only species that can imagine things that haven't been created. And so really, if you want to pull it apart, I think that play is actually the magic source of design. Come argue with me afterwards if you think I'm wrong. That's what we're going to discuss today. And of course, you're at a conference and this is about play. So there are 3 guests and we are going to give you 3 gifts. Because you are an audience at a conference, you want to take things away. Let's do it. I'm going to leave you with a new language, a new way to extend your practice, and also a new neural pathway, just for shits and giggles. Before I get the panel up here, let's give you your first gift. I'd like to give you a new language. You may have noticed we are not alone on the stage today, and we haven't been all day. Across here is the incredible Mark and Linda, who have been wonderfully signing Auslan for us all day. I'd love to thank them, but I'd like to teach us all how to thank them in Auslan so that we can give you a new language. Here we go. We practiced this earlier. I'm really nervous. Okay, we're going to say, if everyone can get their hands ready, you're doing this with me. Don't think you're getting out of this. Okay. We're going to say thank you for your hard work. Yes. Can we do that again? Thank you for your hard work. And please give them both a really big round of applause in Auslan for their incredible interpreting today. And congratulations on learning a new language. Now, let's get on to the main event, because it's not about me, it is about the 3 incredible people I have to share their wisdom with you. Let's bring out our first guest. Our first guest is Kate Darlington. Let me tell you about her. She has been a digital product design lead in the fast-paced world of consulting for 8 years. She self-identifies as a mother hen. She makes it her mission to cultivate a psychologically safe environment, which is really important. And she has a multidisciplinary design team that she leads, as well as the Melbourne UX and product practice at Deloitte Digital. Please give her a round of applause. We are welcoming to the stage Kate Darlington.
So glad I didn't fall.
Come on up, grab a seat.
Feels like very Graham Norton almost.
It does. It is. That's the idea. It's Graham Norton-esque. Our second panel guest is Brendan Donoghue. Now, he is the head of digital and customer experience at UniSuper. He's a strategic digital evangelist, a CX thought leader. I like to say a master of invisible design. Now, he's super passionate about making creative leaders. He is a creative leader in this space and describes himself as an eternal optimist, which I can vouch for. He's worked in everything from telcos to banking to super over the last 20 years, and he is going to share with us some pretty bold ideas, I've got no doubt. Please welcome to the stage, Brendan Donoghue. We need some music. Dun 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 dun. Here it goes. And finally, we have Xile Wang. Now, Xile is the head of UX product head of UX and product design at Deloitte Digital. And if it sounds familiar, yes, he is Kate's boss. So he also specialises in designing for large-scale digital transformation projects and growing creative leaders. He's the lead designer on Deloitte's Optimal Reality product. Is that how I say it? Ooh, it sounds intense, but I'm sure there's a lot of play involved. So please welcome to the stage, Xile Wang. Have a seat. Now that we all know each other, let's talk a little bit about creativity and play. Now, Kate, you were really talking to me earlier about being really interested in creating a psychologically safe space, creating that space to become playful in a work environment. Can you tell us all a little bit about how you do that?
I feel like it's so hard, particularly in consulting, but I'm sure others can relate to it. We operate in such a high-pressure, fast-paced environment. And of course, when you're stressed, I feel like that playful side is probably the first thing to go out the window. So for us, it's really about, I guess, from a capability standpoint, making sure that the space and our design practice that we create at Deloitte is a place where people want to come and they feel safe and they're free of judgment.
And how do you do that?
Yeah, so about post-COVID, we created 5 pillars, and really those pillars represent our interests. So whether it's learning and development, culture, and really the reason why we did that was to ensure that everyone on our team almost had a shared responsibility of really driving and evolving how we do design at Deloitte and making it a place that they want to come to.
Okay, and so do you test people's playfulness when they come for interview? Are you so here's 3 balls, can you how do you test a playful level?
It's an interesting thing. I remember 8 years ago when I first had my interview at Deloitte, they asked me if I was a fruit, what fruit I would be. And I remember just feeling so stumped, and I'm sure we've all been in situations like that, in an interview environment where you're just like, what just happened?
What fruit would you be?
I said strawberry, and I can't even remember why. Yes. It was just one of those things where I was like, oh my gosh. And you walk out of those interviews and you're like, what just happened and what were they trying to assess? So I feel like for us, when we're growing our design team and looking to build that, some of the questions that we ask is really focused on, well, first of all, some kind of case study to really understand their thinking and how they apply that. But also just understanding, and Xile's got a great question as well that I learned from him, is it's really focused on, if someone was in need, how would you approach that? And I think that tells us a lot about a person and the type of person that we want to have part of, our practice and the culture that we're establishing.
Okay, cool. I also want that to be a conversation starter at afternoon tea. Please find out what somebody in the audience, what fruit they would be. I like it. Brendan, am I allowed to tell people about UniSuper's Creative Afternoons?
Yeah, go for it.
Well, actually, you can.
Oh, okay, excellent. Thank you. Thank you for your delightful question. When I joined UniSuper, I'd come from Telstra and I'd come from NAB before that, and they are fairly conservative organisations, and I had the pleasure of trying to build design teams in them. One of the first things that I learnt was that when you are trying to build design teams in these organisations, designers are like, look, I could work here or I could work at an exciting organisation like a Canva or something similar. Why would I come and work for you? So we really wanted to try and create spaces that fostered innovation and creativity. And we were quite inspired by Tom Keeley, who's written The Art of Innovation, that talks about designers need to be given opportunities to engage in creative exercises outside of their work environment. No matter what your workplace is like, your creativity is not going to be at its maximum sitting at your desk, staring at your screen. So go and do as many other things as you can. One of the things we do at UniSuper is creative afternoons. So every quarter we head out, we go off to the NGV, we go walk through the cities, we look at architecture, we look at different things, and we bask in the creative excellence of others who came before us, and we look for inspiration that we can be taking back to our work and saying, hey, that presentation by MC Escher, that's going to make me think a little bit differently about how I'm doing my planning for the illustrations I'm creating or for the kind of wireframes that I'm working on at the moment.
Which I think is something that a lot of organisations are amiss to, is that there can be so much inspiration that's out there right in front of you that you just don't see sometimes, because we become, what we've discussed today, often is this sort of process driven, so we miss the roses that are right in front of us.
Yep. One of the things is, we've used the double diamond, we've used these methodologies, we've gotten into organisations, Once you're in the organisation, though, you are the champion of your own destiny. You know, you can really be defining what design is inside those organisations. And when we were chatting before we came on stage, we were talking about keep design weird, okay? Don't become the minutiae of the rest of the organisation. And here's the kicker. If you're not going to champion design and its weirdness and its drive for creativity, who else is going to? The senior leaders who've built their careers on making decisions in a particular way, they're not going to suddenly change and embrace different ways of working and different ways of thinking. It's on us to actually bring that into the organisations that we're working with and really drive that creativity. So when I think about the creative afternoons and all this stuff, we didn't ask for permission. We told the business right at the start, listen, you're building a design team, this is what comes along with it. We're going to be a little different. We're going to be a little weird. Some of us are going to dress in pretty strange ways, but you're going to love that because that's going to enable you to get all the things that you want from building the design team.
And so can I ask, in essence of this, you know, you need to really just tell people that we're going to be doing things weirdly about we had this lovely conversation about keeping design weird. Xile, you're working in some pretty immersive technology, right? Yeah. So you must have to be keeping things weird. Like, how does play work within your realm of like new technologies and immersive technology and simulation? Have I got?
Yeah. So one of the interesting things, and I want to touch on this a little bit, is I think playfulness has a big connection to human emotion, right? And I'm going to use a big word here, social neurology as well, right? For me, playfulness, I can almost see it as a human emotion. And there's studies out there which show how much human emotion, how much it impacts the way we work, why we go to work, and the quality of the outputs that we produce. And in these studies, some of the insights that came out was that for activities which required a little bit more detailed or analytical thinking, people preferred a slightly negative or neutral emotional state, where negative is more, you know, on the sad side and positive being happy. And they also preferred energy levels that were a little bit lower. On the other hand, for activities which required, you know, innovation and idea generation, people preferred higher energy levels, not ecstatic, but high energy levels, and an emotional state which was more positive. And bringing this back to playfulness, if we see it as an emotional state, I would see it as something that's a little bit more higher energy, and a little bit more on the positive emotional side. And now we can see why it starts forming the foundation and the ingredients to drive some of that creativity and that innovation and idea generation.
And I think that's really interesting when we talk a lot about curiosity today. We've spoken a lot about curiosity, about finding your natural way of doing things, about connection and connecting. And I think, actually, Kate, you were talking about how important psychological safety is. And of course, if you're being playful, you can't play if you don't feel safe, right? So there is definitely an element of creating that positivity for innovation through playfulness. How do you do that at your, how do you create your psychologically safe team?
Absolutely. So I think it's at a capability level, so within our design practice as well as at a project level. So at a capability level, again, I spoke about those pillars. Again, those pillars really help us make sure we're evolving in the right spaces. So I think our culture pillar plays a huge role in that, looking at how we connect, how we support each other and making sure we've got those cadences in place. But then also on a project level, again, I feel like so often we're launched into these projects or environments where we're either working with different business units or service lines or different clients, and it's a bit like, ooh, this feels a bit uncomfortable. I'm not sure, who these people are. It's all a bit new. So something that we did at Air Services recently, again, working with a new client, we're a new design team, how we really created that safe environment that really fosters that creativity is, and again, Air Services, they look very serious business and they look after national airspace. But in that first discovery workshop, what we did was we made paper aeroplanes. Again, this really allows us to carry that flag of championing that creativity and allowing us to really encourage experimentation, promote collaboration.
So can I just confirm, you got a bunch of engineers to make planes?
not even engineers. We had, what's our key stakeholder? He's like an aeronautical engineer. Like these people.
He used to make
steroid pumped plane.
Totally. And then, of course, you've got this crazy design team. So for us, really that first activity, I think it kind of got everyone on the same page in terms of, okay, we're going to be doing things a little bit differently around here. And really, so we did 2 rounds of the making of the paper aeroplane.
And so can I ask you just on that? I mean, Brendan spoke about it in terms of, you shouldn't seek permissions, you just do it. You keep design weird by actually championing that runway about saying, we need this for our creation. How did your organisation take that, and how do both of your organisations accept the need? I mean, that takes a bit of space to create.
100%. Absolutely comes into the planning of all of our projects. If you don't have that space to really hold that flag, it's going to become really difficult. And I find when we're stressed, I like to think of it almost like this helium balloon of this playful mindset. If you're stressed, that balloon is going to be the first thing that's deflating.
Do you think, and this is a side note question, but do you think, I'm going to throw it to you, Brendan, because you said chuck anything at me, so I will. Do you think that there is a bit of a reputation for designers within organisations that, if they're doing exactly what you're saying about trying to keep things weird and trying to have these creative afternoons, that people sort of roll their eyes and don't quite value the need for that exploration? And
yeah, absolutely. If that's all you're doing, then that's the label you're going to have. So if you come into an organisation and all you're doing is the kind of what do you call, like textbook or stereotypical sort of things, and the organisation looks from the outside and doesn't see the value, then yeah, you'll be labelled with that. And that's when you're actually at risk of getting cut. And I've worked as part of some really big design teams that got cut because the organisation stopped understanding the value. I think as designers, playfulness, creativity are key components of enabling us to create amazing experiences, but the rubber meets the road when those experiences get into our customers' hands or get into our employees' hands. That's the bit that, when we're thinking about creativity and playfulness, they're for inspiration, they're for engagement, they're for better connectedness, but we've also got to be making sure that at the end of the day, stuff's getting out the door, because that's why the business has brought us in the first place.
So on that, for anyone out there who suddenly thinks, actually, yeah, creative afternoons, great idea. What do you have a formal process of how that sort of tinkers away and becomes valuable afterwards, or is it just an informal process?
No, so my comment's about showing value. So as a design team, we're able to articulate the value that we provide back to the organisation. So, we built an app in X amount of time. This is the engagement we're getting from it. This is the level of funds under management. We're a super fund. That's what we love. People moving money in and doing good things with it so they can have a great retirement. We can show the value and the change of the experiences we've delivered. And the business loves that. Get the metrics about your data. So whatever you're doing, show the business the value in what you're doing. That buys us the space and permission to then do the things that we want to do, not because we want to be self-indulgent, but because we want to be an exceptionally good design team. We want to feel connected. We want to feel inspired. We want to feel like we are actually valued for the things that we value, and that we don't have to become cogs in this machine and work in a very particular way.
Great. So you can see we've actually got a very creative panel here. And so much so that, if you're willing, I would love to test our creativity. I'm going to offer up our second gift for our audience now. Call this interval, or a little mini break, if you will. I'm going to ask our panel to show us what they've got in the world of divergent thinking. So, there is a way to test divergent thinking. There's many ways, actually, but one of the ways was it's developed in 1967 by a gentleman called J.P. Guilford, and it's called the Alternative Uses Test. Now, I'm going to ask my panel, if you wouldn't mind standing up, please, and joining me at the front of the stage. We're going to do this together right now. Now, how the Alternative Uses Test works is that in a moment, Berlin is going to bring us an inanimate object. None of us know what it is. And she's going to bring it to the stage, and we are going to have 2 minutes on the clock to come up with as many alternate uses for this object as we can think of. It can be anything other than its original design use. Now, the actual test, it does actually test in 4 areas: flexibility and originality, but for today, it's just going to be purely numbers, all right? It's quantity, not quality. So, I have a little timer here. Let's hope this works. Yes. Ooh. We're going to have 2 minutes on the clock, and Berlin is going to bring us a random object. Please welcome Berlin as she brings a random object to the stage. Yes. Great. It is a hula hoop. We are going to have 2 minutes. Are you ready, panel?
Let's go.
Let's go.
Are you ready, audience? All right. We're going to have 2 minutes to come up with as many uses for this as we can. Here we go. See if it starts. Yes, it's a beauty sash.
It's a portal to another world.
Oh.
It's the circle window. Hello, boys and girls.
It's an earring.
Oh, yes. It's a steering wheel training device.
It's a wheel for a car.
It is a very awkward healthcare device to grow flexibility.
It's a sculpture.
It's a belt for a challenged person.
It's a fidget device when you spin it around like that.
It's a pretend animal. Come, Spot, come.
Oh dear. It's a fascinator at the royal wedding.
Oh, it could be a practice donut.
It's a stretching exercise when I'm squeezing it.
Oh.
It is a very big hole for a very big donut.
Oh dear. It's my wedding band.
Oh.
It's a life-size emoji.
It's a link between a husband and their partner.
It's a very awkwardly shaped box, and right now I'm standing outside the box and then inside the box.
It's a lasso.
Oh, yeah. It's a very awkward tug-of-war device.
Wait, we've done steering wheel, haven't we? We've done steering wheel. It's something to play. You know that game where you throw the hoop and you have to hit the little stalk? It's one of those.
Yes.
It is a very strange and offline example of meeting people. Hello, my name's Brendan.
Oh my gosh, how do I follow that one? It is a jump rope.
Whoa.
Oh, yes. It is a hoop to train your guinea pig with. Come on, buddy, come on.
It is.
3 seconds.
It is
Bring it home,
the
Miller.
circle of trust that I'm.
Round of applause.
Wow.
Grab a seat. That was good, man. That was good. I think we got like 50-something. That is something that is your second gift to take home. Try it out for yourself. It is designed to stretch your divergent thinking. Back to our conversation. Now I want to unpack our topic for today is, do you think you can be creative without being playful, or playful without being creative? Now, we haven't discussed this between us, so let's see what we think. I'm going to start with you, Xile, because you're smiling and nodding. Do you think you can be one without the other?
Yes, I love the old switcheroo question. When we finish our design projects, one I like to ask is, did we design the right build or did we build the right design?
Ooh.
I'll leave that one for the audience to take away.
Yeah.
So I think with your question, I'll start with, can you be creative without being playful?
Yep.
And I think absolutely yes. And I think part of it comes down to what we define as creativity. For me, it's about making things, right? Making things and solving spicy problems that are out there every day. And different people like doing that in different ways. I mean, as a designer, I prefer having a playful environment for creativity. But we often work with, other people, other professions, other industries. For example, our fantastic engineers, there may be a few of them in the audience, and having a playful, mindset or environment may not be so useful for their creativity, right? Often, our front-end designers, they're cutting code. To them, that's creation and making things for them. For our mathematicians or simulation geeks out there, right? Creating formulas are one way that they create those items. So everyone is a little bit different.
But could you not argue that actually iteration is playful in itself?
Iteration, like doing things over and over again. Yeah, I mean, what is playfulness?
Anybody else want to chime in? The thoughts are ticking.
Does it matter?
Does it matter?
Does it matter if you can be one without the other?
Well, it's interesting when you start, often if we look at the the context of creativity. Now, creativity is this valued thing. We're all here, we're all discussing it today, but then you say the word play and people reel. Now, for instance, if you decided to call your creativity afternoons play afternoons, you would probably find that it would not get the same reaction or response or respect.
I think my question, though, is more about the idea of, when we think about we can separate these things, then we try and be creative without being playful. But actually, you can be playful and creative at the same time and be proud about it. So we've created a space to actually have a creative afternoon, but you can play and have fun. You were talking about it's Absolutely. One of these innate things that we're born with. Lean right into it and unlock that inner child.
See, I don't think we can be creative without being playful.
Oh, excellent.
So, wanted your argument. Here we go. I don't think you can have. I think you can probably be playful without being creative, but I don't think you can be creative without being playful. I think it's the actual fundamental essence of creativity. Boom. Anyone else?
Yeah, I think playfulness absolutely helps and emphasises us to be in that kind of sense of fun, that lightness. It absolutely aids that. But I don't think playfulness is the only thing that can stimulate creative thinking. I think there's a lot that we can do, particularly when we're under pressure in these high-intensity environments. Like, there's a lot of things that we can do to kind of help us still achieve those outcomes, and whether that's brainstorming techniques, reverse brainstorming is a thing that we use a lot at Deloitte, whether it's changing your environment, which we spoke about before, whether it's even collaborating with others. But I think it really starts, for that creative thinking, it really just starts with an understanding of how you do your best work, and then folding that into a more group environment.
Okay. So another question, do you think as designers, as things evolve, and particularly with the introduction of ChatGPT now and all the processes and all the scaling, are we losing that sense of playfulness in the world of design?
I think if you're not already playing with ChatGPT at the moment, you're missing out. It was amazing. I got ChatGPT to rewrite my LinkedIn, and then all the other AIs looking for jobs started writing to me and saying, I want a job. Like, get amongst it. It's really crazy. I got it to help me write notes back to my family, notes to the team. People at my work are writing notes that update at the end of the week in limerick format because ChatGPT can be doing that. There's a lot of play and fun that can be grabbed from these tools.
So you would actually say that the playfulness is evolving. You would still say that the world of design is as playful now that we're all focusing on scaling up and double diamonds and all the things that we've been talking about today?
I think there's an element of, and I almost challenge Chi, with this essential nature of the presentation, like those tools got us in the front door. They are still incredibly valuable because organisations look to predictable outcomes. So they're going, what do you want to do? Well, we're going to do this double diamond thing. Okay, I understand it. It buys us the opportunity to then discover our own ways of being creative within these environments and finding the things that work best. Things have changed, since 13 years ago to today, my career, the options that we've got, the tools we use, they're all different, but we can forever be discovering new ways of playing and discovering. I don't think those have gone away at all because technology's evolved. Okay,
so I'm hearing you're saying we're still as playful as we always were. Technology has just given us a lift.
I'm actually saying we can be. That doesn't mean that we always are, but we can be. Those opportunities are there, and we should be looking and pushing into those moments and ensuring that they continue to remain for us.
Go, Xile, go. You've got something to say.
I actually think technology enables us to be more playful.
Oh.
Right? And I like Brendan's comment around it buys us time, because what technology does is it helps us do some of the more monotonous tasks, right? And it buys us time to then do more thinking, right? To be more creative, to come up with more new ideas. And so I think with the help of technology, it actually will help us evolve and become more creative over time.
Okay, you're going to jump in?
Well, I think with buying that time, it really helps you engage in things that fill your cup. And I think if your cup is full, you're more likely to carry that helium balloon of playfulness and take that with you as you approach, whether it's tasks at work or tasks at home. So, buying that time for hobbies and all that good stuff.
So let's bring this back to this morning, Chia and her white SUV argument. what do we think about that? Because there is a school of thought that says, actually, because we've got all these things that are for us, and do you design the world or does the world design you?
Come on, isn't that picture just an example of confirmation bias? I want to start by selecting all the cars that look the same so that then I can have a slide of all the cars that look the same. Not every car on the road looks that colour. In the United States today, the biggest selling car is not a white car, it's a black car. Culturally, we have a preference for types of cars, and those are examples of all something that look the same, but that's not what people are buying. Australia's highest selling car at the moment is a ute. But that wasn't shown at all.
Where are the blue cars? Where are the yellow cars gone?
So we have yellow cars. They're out in the car park. They're on the roads. Look out the window now. We have these different things, and as designers, that was the thing, like, celebrate the fact that we are still really, really creative. Don't beat ourselves up that we've lost our creativity. What we've done is we've understood what people want and we're playing that back to them, but you could show that picture in a decade's time and all the cars will look different because our desires as a society will move on. We'll want different things. Maybe we'll want different colours. Maybe we'll want different things. We didn't want SUVs a decade ago because we had a different type of desire. They'll continue to evolve. You know, don't fall into those traps of thinking that we've lost our edge.
So on that, if we're talking about rediscovering creativity, the fact is that the creativity is just there. We're just not giving it the kudos that it deserves. Is that what we're saying?
That's what I'm saying.
Ooh, okay. Interesting points. Yeah. Okay, Xile, you want to chime in on that? Come on, Xile. You got something. There's the smirk that comes across Zilla's face. What do you want to say? You can tell him he's full of shit.
I think.
I can't.
I wanted us to argue. Come on.
I think everyone's got a bit of creative element in them, right? I feel like we're all makers at heart, right? And it takes a little bit maybe to bring that out of some of us. And I think us as designers who are at the forefront on a lot of creativity, it's our responsibility to kind of bring that out of other people as well.
Okay. So you don't think we have to fight? Sometimes I do think that we do need to fight for creativity. We need to fight to keep the weird alive. I mean, you said it, Brendan. You said keep
design weird.
Keep design weird. Now, sometimes I do feel like there is a fight that has to happen because we do get so pummeled into this sort of over-immersed information source world that we live in now. So I feel like there has to be a bit of a fight to stay creative, right? It has to be a conscious thing. I mean, we're having a conference about it.
I think we're fighting for the space to be creative. So for me, and again, everyone defines creativity differently. For the longest time, I always felt so uncomfortable putting myself in that bucket until I sort of redefined it as being creative is just to solve problems. And I feel like we all solve problems every day, at work, at home, whether you're a scientist in a lab or you're a product designer in a skyscraper in the city. So I think for us, it's about making sure we have the space to be able to carry that flag into different forums and to take people on that journey, because ultimately they will be looking at us to bring that to the situation.
And I would say, and I would challenge Brendan here. And
You guys can fight. I'm
and say,
that fighting look. Go on, bring it.
reframe it and say it's not about fighting, right? It's just bad dancing. Right?
Ooh.
We don't know what the other person doesn't know. The other person doesn't know other things that we don't know, right? And it's about coming together, learning, collaborating with each other. As Kate said, taking them along on a journey, right? Involving them in the whole process. And you'll find that it's less of a fight, but you're learning and growing and learning how to dance cohesively together.
So don't fight for your opportunities to be creative. Dance badly for your opportunities to be creative. That's the takeaway. And that keep design weird, right? That will be it.
And what about internally? I mean, you talked about space. I mean, it's been proven by research that actually daydreaming is one of the best things that we can do as a creative practice. But these days, I mean, I caught the train in this morning and every single person was head down in Insta world. What about personally? How do you do the dance with yourself internally?
We've got to start down
Anyone?
the panel.
Come on, Xile. You got any?
How do I do the dance with myself personally?
Yeah. Do you give yourself... Okay, let's put it this way. I'm running out of time. But do you give yourself permission to dance with yourself in that way, to allow yourself to have that creative space and that yeah?
I think it's a bit of self-discovery. I would say I'm probably more on the maybe introverted or introspective side.
Yep.
So it's really about giving yourself time to revel in your thoughts, right? And giving yourself that space as well. And sometimes it is a bit of bad dancing. I mean, we're distracted by a lot of things in our daily lives, like at work and outside of work. And for me, it's just giving me that headspace. And what I like to do is I like to just go for long walks, not on the beach, but just by the railway tracks near my house, and just revel in my thoughts every now and then.
Okay. Brendan, Kate, how do
I find opportunities to be creative in my everyday life? Bluey is my spirit animal. So I have 2 small children, 2 and 4, and that is my life, where they are constantly engaging in different things and creating experience out of absolutely nothing. So I think a lot of my time when I'm not at work is dedicated to being a part of their games and their space. And my job is to be whatever they need me to be. A chair, a monster, a dinosaur, lots of dinosaurs. That's my role. And then I kind of love that, because there's almost those moments where you can then be bringing stuff back to your work and going, hey, not to be a dinosaur at work, but I could approach something in a different way. I could take a more creative or a more innovative approach.
Yes, my 5-year-old taught me about leadership recently. He had to coach me through 2 boulders that he stuck me between. He was like, you could just do it, Mummy. He had like the most unwavering belief in me that got me through. It was incredible. They're like tiny Buddhas, those kids. Hold on to them. And Kate, how about you?
Yeah, for me, it's about creating. So, but in a non-digital format. I think I need a break sometimes from that work aspect. So for me, whether it's creating something in the garden, creating something in the kitchen, creating a shed with my fiance last weekend, which nearly ended very poorly for our future wedding.
Yes.
But I think creating something is something that for me brings out that openness, that lightheartedness, that playfulness, and then that flows into everything else.
Great. And we've gone round the world and back today in the terms of creativity and playfulness. If you had one sentence, only one sentence to leave as a words of advice for the audience, what would it be? Let's start with you, Xile.
I would say be playful, but with serious intent.
Oh, I thought you stole mine.
Yes.
Oh my gosh, it's like we work in the same company.
Well, I want to add, so I've already got keep design weird, but I just want to add, like, if you're not going to fight for the opportunities that design brings, then who is going to?
Ooh, the rhetorical question, yes.
I think for myself, find out what fills up your helium balloon of that playful mindset and really bring that to different, everyday work and home tasks as to how you can bring that sense of fun.
Awesome. Wonderful. And I will leave you with your parting gift. Not sure if you are aware, but there are actually 1,000 or so bunnies here in this environment. If I could ask everybody to hold up your 2 bunnies. Go on. I'm not going to ask you to stand. Yes. There's like 1,000 bunnies. They're rodents everywhere. Of course, they're rodents, unfortunately. Get out your gun, because we're going to have to kill those suckers. Sorry. But of course, bunnies move quick. So, see if you can shoot your bunnies. Give it a go. See if you can shoot your bunnies. Try it. You're going to feel stupid and you're going to... Yes?
It's like the tapping the head, rubbing the tummy.
The opposite. It's terrible.
Someone down here's just giving me the bird. Like they're just...
Got a 2.
That has actually created for you a new neural pathway, believe it or not. It's that simple. So that is your final gift. And I think the thing that I would like to impart with you is put a bit more playfulness into your practice. It will give you a new language. It will extend your practice and it will create new neural pathways. That is the end of our panel. Please thank my incredible guests, Xile, Brendan and Kate. Please give them a round of applause. We are done.
Thanks, Trudi.
And I am Trudi. Thank you very much. Thank you.